You are moving towards that, moving towards that. At the intellectual level, it is very easy. It is very easy to understand that there is a change taking place everywhere. And everything is so impermanent. Anyone who takes birth dies. Anything that is manufactured later or sooner or later gets destroyed. Everything is impermanent. But that is an intellectual understanding. Experience of it can be only within the framework of your body. The law of nature is law of nature everywhere, inside, outside. But the law of nature that you see outside can be acceptable, can be understood at the intellectual level. But the reality, the law that you experience within the framework of the body can be experienced. And this experience is called bhavanamaya panya. You are living there. You have direct experience. Otherwise, it does not help. At the intellectual level, there were teachers before Buddha, at the time of Buddha, after Buddha, who kept on giving the same teaching, but it didn't work to the depth as it worked for people who started developing their own bhavanamaya panya. Like something very traumatic happens in the life. A very near or dear one has passed away. And you take his dead body to the funeral pyre and burn it, or to the graveyard and put it in the grave. While that is going on, one develops so much of wisdom. After all, everything is so impermanent. One who takes birth dies. Nobody is free from death. I will also die one day. People will bring my body, put in this grave, or burn on this funeral pyre. Then what is the use of all this craving, clinging, fighting with people, accumulating this or that? Ultimately, everything will be left here and my body will be burned. Big wisdom. But how long? As soon as one takes one step out of that graveyard, again the same I, mine. All madness is there. It makes no difference. It was only intellectual understanding. Or people come to such Dhamma talks, such discourses. Wonderful. Now I understand why this attachment is so bad. It gives so much of misery. The more you are attached, the more miserable you are bound to be. Misery. This I is a big misery. Mine is a big misery. At the end of the discourse, when you go out of the hall, hey, where are my shoes? Who has taken away? My slippers I purchased only today. New ones, what happened? Start crying, mine. Makes no difference. It is all intellectual. Doesn't help. One has to experience. And it is so difficult to experience, so easy to understand at the intellectual level, so easy to accept it at the devotional level, so difficult to experience, because unless you have that faculty to experience, you can't. There is so much of illusion, so much of delusion. At the apparent level, something appears to be so, seems to be so. Actual level is totally different. Like night time, you go to bed, you lit a lamp or a candle, you go to sleep, next day morning you get up and you see the candle, the light of the candle, the light of the lamp, and you are under the impression the same candle, the same light. Where the same candle, where the same light? Every moment a flame arises and passes away, another takes its place and passes away, another takes its place and passes away. There is no interval. Continuously. And that gives an impression, the same flame, the same light, the same flame, the same light. A big illusion. This electric bulb, I pointed towards it twice. One remains under the impression, the same light, the same light. Where the same light? If it was the same light, then why at the end of the month this electric company sends me a bill? You consume so many units, so many dollars, what for? My light I purchased in the market, my switch, and you on it, I get my light. Who are you? What for you want money? He is quite correct. He is generating their electricity. It comes through the wires, gets consumed, new takes its place with such great rapidity The old one passes away, the new takes its place, the old one passes away with such great rapidity, it gives the impression the same, the same. Another example, you cross the river. Morning you crossed the river, went to the other bank of the river, whole day you worked there, and then again you took the boat and came on this side of the river. You are under the impression, I have crossed the same river. Where the same river? Even if you take a dip in this river, you take a dip and the head above the water, second dip, head above the water, third dip, head above the water, you are under impression that I am taking dip in the same river. Where same river? Constant flow is there. The dip that you had in the river is gone. Not a single drop remains, all have gone. Second dip in a second river altogether. Third dip in a third river altogether. The morning you crossed this river by your boat, by evening it was a totally new river. And yet the impression remains the same river, the same light. How to come out of this? Certain things which are within the capacity of your sense organs, like you have got eyes and you can see things, there is a limitation for that. The flame of the lamp arising, passing, arising, passing. If you see very carefully, you can notice, yes, arising, passing, arising, passing. But the light of electricity, it arises and passes with such a great rapidity beyond your eyes' capacity. The flow of the river, yes, it is flowing. The second dip is a new river. Third dip is a new river. If you give attention, you can understand. But how to understand? This fellow who took the first dip is gone. Second dip is taken by altogether a new person. Third dip is taken by altogether a new person. How to understand that? You don't have that faculty to experience it. If one has not practiced Vipassana, then this Goenka, who started talking about half an hour ago, will remain under the impression, the same Goenka. I am the same Goenka. The same Goenka was yesterday. The same Goenka was 1 year ago, or 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 67 years ago, same Goenka. Where same Goenka? Every moment this Goenka is dying, another Goenka is taking birth. Every moment this Goenka is dying, another Goenka taking birth. The entire physical structure made of these subatomic particles arising, passing with such great rapidity, such great rapidity. This speed creates illusion, delusion, confusion. One cannot understand the reality. Even if one accepts the reality at the intellectual level, because the scientists have said so, the entire material world, there is no solidity, it's only wavelets, wavelets, wavelets. The modern scientist says so. Well, an enlightened person like a Buddha has said so. There is no solidity anywhere, just wavelets, entire universe, mind and matter, nothing but wavelets, vibration, vibration. Because you have got faith in them and you accept, that doesn't help. You have to experience yourself. And this is what was done by him to reach the final goal of full liberation. And that is what everyone has to do to understand the real change taking place. Every moment changing, changing, changing. With great rapidity, changing. A child is born. You see the child, beautiful, tender. You see the child after 10 years, a big change has come. And you see with the interval of 20 years, big change, 30, 40, 60, 80 years, unbelievable. The same child, how he became like this. And how he became like this. Not that at the end of every 10 years, he went to bed and some God Almighty passed a magic wand over his body and he got a changed person. Nothing doing. Every moment change is taking place, every moment changing, 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 decaying, decaying, growing, decaying, growing, decaying. This is the law of nature. This law of nature, if one accepts at the intellectual level or at the devotional level, does not help at all. It is just an intellectual pleasure, intellectual entertainment, or a devotional pleasure, a devotional entertainment. It won't help. But at the actual level, when one starts experiencing it, it makes such a big difference, such a big difference. And this is what he did. What you have started doing is just a very tiny step. It's a long path. One has to investigate so much deep inside to understand what this material structure is, what this mind is, and what interaction is going on at a very deep level. And this made him fully enlightened, dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving. He reached the stage where he came to the ultimate truth pertaining to the matter, the ultimate truth pertaining to the mind, the ultimate truth pertaining to the mental contents, the mental concomitants which arise with the mind. And then it transcended that and experienced something which is beyond mind and matter. For the matter, dividing, dissecting, he came to the tiniest subatomic particle of which the entire body is made, the tiniest, to which he gave a name, Kalapa. Kalapa means a unit, a material unit, tiniest material unit which cannot be further separated. He called it Atta Kalapa. Atta means 8. 8 things joined together make this unit, and these 8 things cannot be separated. They are always together. The 4 basic elements like earth, water, fire, air, and each one has its own characteristic, joined together 8. These characteristics are more important, and that can be experienced. When one reaches to that stage, then it becomes easy to understand the mind also at the ultimate level. This is the reality of the mind at the ultimate level. This is the reality of every mental content at the ultimate level. And this made him understand what is this mind-matter phenomena. With such a great rapidity, all wavelets, but with such a great rapidity, things arise, pass. He says, by the time I snap my fingers, or by the time I blink, this tiny little subatomic particle arises, passes, trillions of times. A Western scientist also has come to the same conclusion. A professor in Berkeley University, he was studying, trying to understand how this atom is working. This was clear to the scientists of the West a century ago, that there is no solidity in the material world, mere wavelets. He was eager to know, very inquisitive to know the tiniest particle, how many times it arises and passes in 1 second. And to find out that, he invented a instrument which he very rightly called bubble chamber. Like bubble, it arises, passes. And with the help of this bubble chamber, he could find out and then announce that this tiniest atom, it arises and passes in 1 second, 22 zeros after 1. 22 zeros after 1. And here another scientist in the East says that by the time I snap my fingers or blink my eyes, trillions of times it arises and passes. They came to the same conclusion. And yet what a great difference. Quite a few students from this part of the world, California, Berkeley, they came to India, took courses when they heard about this professor, and he is a very renowned professor. He passed away recently, and he got Nobel Prize, and Nobel Prize is not given to any Tom, Dick and Harry. Somebody must have invented something which people didn't know. So he was a very famous man. So out of inquisitiveness, they went, curiosity to see this person who reached the stage which an enlightened person reached, and they found him a bundle of misery, full of tension. Why? He could not come out of his misery. Why he could not come out of his tension, whereas somebody coming to the same conclusion got free from all miseries? Because Bhavanamaya Panya was missing. He had come to this conclusion with the help of his apparatus, his instrument, the bubble chamber. He has great faith in this bubble chamber. He has great faith in his own intellect, and he says it is so. But this person is not using any scientific instrument or apparatus, only his experience, direct experience, and this makes all the difference. When you go deep inside to understand the reality of your mind and matter interaction, it is not for the sake of curiosity, not to quench the thirst of your inquisitiveness. It is, the purpose of it is to come out of the ignorance and see how out of ignorance you keep on generating impurity after impurity, defilement after defilement, negativity after negativity, and you become a bundle of misery. To change that habit pattern, one has to go deep inside and experience the truth. The first truth which one starts experiencing is the truth of change. Every moment a change is taking place. The entire mind matter phenomena constantly changing. And that is understood at the experiential level. Everything is changing. There is nothing throughout the physical structure or the mental structure, as you keep on dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving, nothing which you can say this is the hard core and now this remains permanent. You keep on exploring. If there is any hard core, let me see, let me experience it, and this is what the Bhavanamaya Panya will do. The anicca, the change, is experienced now. The change is not accepted merely at the level of intellect, not accepted merely at the level of devotion, at the actual level. Change. Initially, you come across very solidified, intense